Hello everyone. I'm buggered. Just come back from the shops. It's a little echo in here at the moment because I'm sitting half inside my new scale garage. You're everywhere. I figured I'd just jump on to a little bit of an update as to where I'm at with it. I know there's a lot of people wanting to build garages, etc. So this is a little bit of a chance for me to show you guys what I use and how I do stuff, etc. and so on. Peter's joined us. I think Robert's joined us as well. Thanks for joining, fellas. This isn't going to be a huge live feed because I want to get back into building. I've achieved a lot. You'll notice there's a beam currently above my head. This is actually going to be the front of the garage. So when I work on my trucks, I'm legit going to be in my garage. Dave's joined us. Robert George Patterson's joined us. Thanks for joining, fellas. As I was just saying, this is a bit of a quick live feed. Just a bit of an update on where I'm going with the scale garage, or how I'm going rather. I've just come back from the shops after getting another $150 worth of stuff. I did go a little silly. I went and bought a lot of balsa wood, glue, that sort of deal for building stairs, a loft, possibly an office, bench tops, shelves, that sort of thing. Those sorts of things I will show how to build on a feed. That'll possibly be tomorrow. So a little bit earlier than what this one is now, but I'm thinking tomorrow. By tomorrow, I want to have the roof on, all the walls screwed down, possibly the tiles laid down too. I will show you what I'm using for tiles. I've got crap here everywhere, by the way. This is what my floor is going to be for the scale garage. Josh has joined us. Thanks for joining, Josh. This is going to be the floor for my scale garage. It's double-sided tiles, flexi tiles. I'm not exactly sure what they call them. I forget. Oh, it's a Winton Tile. That's possibly the company that makes them. But anyway, what you do is you peel the back off and you stick it on your desk, and that's the floor done. And they're like $1.68 each, so it's cheap. I mean, saying that, I had to buy 21 of them, but that's what my floor is. And this stuff's actually it wears really well. Stands up to a lot of crap. I mean, I've on my previous ones spilled glue on it and paint, whatever else, and the majority of stuff comes off pretty easy. So I want to get that down. I want to get all the walls and roof attached. I did get a light. This is the light from the scale garage, which is, I believe, 5 foot, something or other. So I got a light from my garage that's going to be attached up around here sort of somewhere. I don't want it too close to my face because I've noticed in previous live feeds where I had the light mounted, it made my face just look white in the feeds. So I'll mount the light somewhere so that when I take my scale photos, the light's shining into the garage. If your light's too far back, you cast a shadow over everything you try and take a picture of, and you don't want that. So I'll have this light probably 3/4 to the front. If I do find that I'm getting a bit of a whiteout effect on my face through videos, I will put a little sheet of wood down in front of the light to sort of shade my face a bit, if that makes sense. Now, I can't see if you guys are commenting because Facebook's shite. I'm just going to swip this back and forwards a couple of... There we go. Adam's with us. Thanks for being with us, Adam. Brian, I used one of those. For some reason. It spread apart. Oh, you mean the tiles? Sorry, mate. I'm only just seeing comments because they didn't start because Facebook's crap, etc. So if you meant the tiles, let me know. I used those in my previous garage and they were brilliant. They were Mickey Mouse. So for the price of them, too cheap to pass up in my opinion. so that's my light. That's my big LED light. Lawrence has joined us. John Davis joined us. Thanks for joining, fellas. I'm doing a quick live feed, a bit of an update of where I am at the garage. I wanted to do more of a live feed with the actual construction, but when I go and get the timber for stuff like this, I get the lengths cut at the hardware. It just makes things easier. It's less work for me when I get home with a bad back. So, anywho, I got the timber cut at the hardware and they cut the lengths wrong. Not pressed. Anywho, So I had to go back down there today, get some longer pieces of wood. Now, for those that don't know, my car is tiny, right? I've got a cheap little run around for work. I managed to get 2.2 metre lengths in the back of my car. Oh, look out. Red Hot Romeo's joined us. Kevin. Lawrence, hi, bud. Time it right was just about to put the Christmas tree up. Awesome. It's that time of year. Now, I have got my scale Christmas tree from last year with all the lights and such on it. I want to get this garage done, dusted within a few days so I can have my scale Christmas tree and do some little presents. We're going full-blown Christmas garage this year. I'm excited about it. So, what else did I get down the street? I know I'm jumping back and forwards a bit here, but this is just a quick, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour tops live feed. As a bit of what I'm using to do my whole garage. Jeremy's joined us. Thanks for joining, Jeremy. Much appreciated, mate. Enjoyed your live feed with Adam Van Ord. Good stuff. Lars has joined us. Lars, what time is it there, man? It must be like 4 in the morning. So, quickly to touch on what I've used. The main desk is an outdoor dining table. Yeah. Wooden top, metal legs. The metal legs, I believe, are stainless, and they are rock hard. I bought a new drill yesterday, and drill kit. I don't know what it is with the legs on this table, but they're just wrecking drill bits. But nevertheless, I struggled through and got the side pieces attached, so now that's fine. So I've attached 4 1 metre long uprights to each end of the table, and then I have on the back of the table another 2, and in the middle of the table I've got an upright about yay big, yay wide that I can screw the back piece to. So I've done that. I've got these 3 beams. There's one here. This is a 2.2 metre beam. I've got 3 of these sitting on top that after I finish this, literally as soon as I finish this, I'm going to bolt those down and then I can start putting the walls on. I'm pumped to put these walls on. Once your walls of your scale garage go on, it all comes together. What I'm using for the walls, here's a piece I prepared earlier. It's essentially laminated MDF, and it's a way of cheating. What do they actually call it? I forget. Yeah, it's just MDF that's laminated on one side. So I'm cheating. I'm going to have white walls for my garage, and I did the same with the last one. This is a quick and easy way of installing walls that are painted. So normal MDF, 3mm thick, light, cheap. Cheap's good. If you can build a garage without spending a fortune, do it. Colin's joined us. Thanks for joining, Colin. Much appreciated. Pumped with how many of you guys have joined for a feed that wasn't advertised, etc. So this is what my walls are, and I had the sheets cut to size when I was there. Thankfully, they didn't stuff those up. So they're all ready to bolt on. I've got a couple of extra bits here because how the roof one goes on, it's not quite going to be long enough because they didn't have enough of the big sheets. They didn't have enough of the big sheets, so I have to do 2 bigger sheets and then some of these towards the front, etc., to make up the gap. Bang. So that's what I'm using for my walls. Right now, I've got plenty of offcuts of that, which is awesome. This is for those that didn't see. This is what I'm using for my floor. It is a textured, which is awesome. This adds scale to detail to your photos. Textured, shiny. Shiny always says expensive, but it's not expensive. They're $1.68 Australian each, so about 20 cents American. They're double-sided. So you peel this off, stick it down. When you put these down top tip, once you've got your first one down in the corner, always start in the corner. Don't start in the middle of your garage. That'd be silly. Start over in one corner. Put it down, and you got to put it down like this. You got to put this end down first, and then slowly lay this down. Don't just try and drop it all down and hope that it lines up, because you'll get it wrong. If you start by putting just the end down, you can sort of shift and move it to where you want it, and then just slowly push the whole tile down. Do the same thing when you apply your next tiles. Push your next one up against the first one you've laid, lay them all down, and you should get a nice, thanks mate, you should get a nice tight floor with no gaps. Jeremy, doing a tear down of my garage tonight. Enjoy, sucker. Look, I love building this stuff. Just my back's rooted. With doing the stuff I was doing last night, it really took it out on me. But I'm at a point now where I'm excited. I'm past the crappy bit. I've got The structural work's there. So now I can start to make it look like a garage and feel like I'm getting somewhere. So that's my floor stuff. Now, I went a little nuts and I went and bought, well, I bought some super glue. I'm sure you guys have all got super glue. This was like $1.50 for a pack of 6. I bought 2 because you can use wood glue with balsa wood, right? Now I bought a lot of balsa wood. So I've got 4. I probably spent more than I wanted to on balsa wood. So I've got 4 of these big poles. They will be used, among other things, for my loft. 4 legs. For balsa wood, these are pretty sturdy. So they are going to be the legs for that and who knows what else. The bonus with balsa wood is 101 uses if you think outside the box. So I've got those, and then I've got some little flat sheets. These sorts of pieces, I got them because they're long. So if I make a staircase up to my loft, which my brain's already picturing what to do already, I can use a piece like this, essentially draw the framework for underneath your stairs, this bit, not the pieces that go on top. Draw it on here, cut it out with, you can use a bloody X-Acto knife even. Cut it out, trace it so you've got 2 the same, and then put your floor rungs on it. You're going for a modern clean garage. That sounds a bit boring, doesn't it? I don't really have a particular theme in mind. I'm just going for probably a garage of someone that's got too much money, if that makes sense. Not some big rich person's garage, but someone's home garage that's just stupid big. Lawrence joined us. Thanks for joining, Lauren. So it's going to be a big open space. I'm thinking possibly some sort of office or room up in the top left corner. And then, I mean, who knows? Ideally, I would like to have the Juggernaut 8x8 in one corner with a nice scale tarp sort of half thrown over it. And not only is it somewhere for that truck to live, but it also sort of fits, if that makes sense. I don't know yet. I will possibly put some more sturdier top on top of the beam, because my roof's going to be attached underneath. On top of the beam, I may get some 5mm MDF sheet put across the top, and then I can store other RCs on top of the garage. Anywho, I got these guys. They're essentially like small round wooden dowels. Now, when you go shopping for balsa wood and things like that to a rich Johnny Burton garage, no such thing, mate. This is as rich as my garage gets, buddy. When you go shopping for materials and woods and such, think outside the box. So if you see a packet like this can possibly be handrails for your stairs. So your stairs going up, this is the handrail, and then you could use another one of these pieces, cut it into shorter lengths, and that could be the runners for the stairs, etc. and so on. Think outside the box, even just for structural stuff. If it's cheap, buy it. You'll use it somewhere. So I've got that. I've got leftover bits of wood here everywhere. I also bought some tiny icy pole sticks. A light's going in, mate. Yes, for those that didn't see. Just quickly, the main garage light. Now I'm planning on making my own scale lights that hang from the roof at some stage. Planning on doing that. The main garage light is an LED that's, I think it's 5 foot long. So that will be mounted just up here. Last, 3D printing would be handy for building stuff like this, don't you think? Yes. When you get in the printer, oh my God. You sound like such a teenage girl, Lars. Look, it's on my list. A printer is on my list. Look, I might even have a talk with Dion from Mr. Comedy, the Scale Man, or Lars, if you want to do some printing for me. I might shoot you some designs of the sort of shed lights we'd have here, garage shed, whatever you want to call it. the sort of stuff we'd have here hanging from the roof with a couple of chains, and then your wire goes down with one of the chains into the light, etc. Anywho, I got some tiny paddle pop sticks, also handy for the side of fences or stair rails or railings and such like that. I think they're $1.50, and there's a lot of them in there. So that's why I got those. I also got, now you can see where the cuts are in these. This whole bag is the same. Something like this is brilliant for making toolboxes, benches, shelves and such like that. If you want your tool, say your benches to be this height, easy done. Cut those off. You've got a heap of these that you can have sitting in a line. You can use one of these for the bench top, glue it straight to it. It makes stuff easy. Work smart, not hard. So I think this was about $15. Why is balsa wood so expensive? There's more. So I got some of these as well. On the next feed, this desk's probably too big. I have to get up to reach. One moment. I've got more stuff here. Oh, it's hot in here. I've been running around like a clown. Okay, so I got some of these balsa wood sheets too. Now I used some of these with my last garage, and they're bloody handy. Anything from shelving, the depth of one of these with a couple of angled pieces, instant shelf, quick, easy, scale. So I've got some of those. I've got some more of the little round ones. These are probably one of the most handiest pieces you will get for your scale buildings. Pre-cut, there is a crap ton of these in there. You will use this for all your bracing work and such. So if you do a staircase, you've got two outside pieces for your staircase. You can use these in between as braces. For building shelves, this is what you use for the angle piece that goes from the wall to the bottom of your shelf. There's so many options. So many so, because that makes sense, that I accidentally bought another packet with the same pieces in it. In saying that, these are different. These are actually squares as opposed to rectangular shapes. So more options. So if I do the loft how I'm thinking, I can put some of these rails around, and then I don't know, I could run those in between them, or run those in between, and then run, because this is how my brain works at 100 miles an hour all the time, and then run some of these. I will build that sort of stuff on a feed because it's fun. You guys can sit at home and build this stuff too. So when I do the next feed, which will probably be tomorrow, I don't know yet, probably be tomorrow, go and buy yourself some balsa wood today. If you want to sit down tomorrow while I'm building some of the stuff I'm going to build, we can build it at the same time. Ivy's joined us. Thanks for joining, Ivy. Much appreciated. What else did I get? Last, very cool. Those from the hobby shop. I've had no luck finding that stuff around here. Okay, so I went to the hardware first to get these long lengths of timber and such. I got some wood glue. Use this if you've got patience, okay? I used some wood glue. With balsa wood, you can use super glue. Only use it though if you're 100% certain you want to glue that piece of wood to the other piece. Because if you're not 100% certain, you are going to break them pulling them apart. That's a promise. But you can use super glue with balsa wood. Especially on stuff that is decorative. Rails around things and all that sort of stuff. So what I will most likely do with the bigger stuff, I will put some wood glue, put stuff where I want it, make sure I'm happy, then I'll grab one of my super glues and just go one little drop, just to sort of insta hold it where it is, and then the wood glue will dry and it'll be rock solid. Right, so I got all that stuff. Back to where I got this stuff from. I need a drink. Tony Gutierrez has joined us, everyone. Say hello to Tony. Right. So I went to the hardware shop and I got these pieces, and that was all they had, and it was like, really, this is a bit shite. we've got a shop called Spotlight, which sells a lot of fabrics and craft stuff and things like that. So I went to Spotlight, and that's where I got a lot of the other bits and pieces with this label. So craft shops, some fabric shops, hobby shops should have them. I do generally find, though, your hobby shop will put a premium on this stuff. Depends where you get it from. But so I got all that, and then because I'm random, tell me that doesn't scream scale carpet. I don't even know if I'll use it. I saw it was like, it's $1. I better buy 2. So I got this. Now, if I don't use this in the garage, I will use it for floor mats and such for trucks. Drew, hey, you got to start tagging me in the feeds. Dude, a lot of people ask me to tag them in feeds, and it gets hard to keep up. Dion's joined us. Sorry, this is just a really quick. This is some of the stuff I'm using for the garage, how I'm doing it, etc. Dion, hey, you're backwards. I know, right? So, look at this. Have a look at this. Now, once everything's done with the garage is going to be over that way about 3 foot and back another 1.5 foot. I've got everything sort of pulled out at the moment so that I can work on it. This is a pretty big desk for the garage space that I've got here. I'm planning on getting another one of these shelves to put where this shelf is. You can just see where that little shelf there is. I'm planning on getting another one of these to put there so I can put more trucks there because I've got too many toys. I thought there was no such thing, but apparently there is. When you haven't got enough shelves for your toys, you've got too many. You just need more shelves, okay? So yeah, I'm trying to set up what I would describe as a cool RC place for us to hang out. Not just me, you guys too. For us to come and hang out and do the live feeds and have some fun and whatever else. So that's all the bolstery wood stuff I got. If you missed that, go back and watch it later on. Okay? What, you're not done yet? False advertising. Mate, leave me alone. You need another shelf to put the elf on a shelf. Dude, local buy sell, you know how you look at the marketplace on Facebook? It popped up in my bloody local marketplace, elf on the shelf thing for sale. My brain went, no, you don't need it. So anyway, so I got some scale carpet too for either a floor area somewhere or for car mats for some of the trucks, floor mats for the trucks. Right, tools that I've used. So far, I've used a little hacksaw, a little handsaw, and a cheap drill. Now, I only use this drill to drill screws into stuff like wood, etc. and so on. I will not, Tony, I will not use it on trucks. No. Because I don't do that, okay? I went and bought a new drill because I don't even know what my old drill is. That's bad, isn't it? And that was about knackered anyway. So I went and bought a new drill for, I think, $65, cheap, 18 volt, cordless. Got that, got a drill kit because over the years I've lost all my bloody drill bits and such and so on. I've probably spent so far on materials $200. Probably a bit more than I wanted to spend, but that's including all the balsa wood stuff. So, Robert's joined us. Thanks for joining, Robert. Just doing a quick update, mate, on how the garage is going. For the last 2 hours, nothing's happened because I was down at the shops buying more stuff that I don't need, for trucks that I don't need but want and have to have. So yeah, I've essentially just used a saw and a drill. If you haven't got many tools and you want to do this sort of thing, think it out. Go to your local harbour and get them to cut the timber for you. I didn't want to use a saw, but because they didn't cut the lengths right of the stuff I got yesterday, I was like, I've got 2 more pieces still that are 2 metres that were supposed to be 2.1 metres. I cut one of them in half last night, so that I could have some extra bits, because I've had to change the design of my garage a bit, bring it in a touch because of how they cut all the timber, which is no huge loss. I've lost, I think, 5 to 10 centimetres tops, which is fine. The garage is still huge. I can't come close to reaching the back of the thing. There's probably another 1.5 feet before I touch the back of the garage, which, now I think about it, when it comes to placing accessories and shelves and such, it's going to be a bit of a pain. But it's going to be worth it because it's going to be awesome, and I'll be able to drive trucks in my scale garage. I also did think too about doing a, can't think of what it's called, a drop-down floor. You know, the old mechanic shops drop-down floor. There's a name for it. Can't think of what it's called. One of you guys can say the name. Anyway, drop-down floor, easy enough to do, especially with a table like this. Plan out where you want it. So in a garage like this, you put it over to the far right, cut out however big you want the drop-down floor to be. Underneath it, the pit. That pit. Thank you, Robert. 5 points. The other Robert says pot. Anywho, because of the sort of desk I've got, you call it grave in Norway. Anyway, I won't ask. So I thought about just cutting a hole in the table and then building a box underneath the table. It's a pit. So that's an option. I mean, I can do that at any stage. Even once the flooring's down, for those that didn't see it. That's what I'm using for my flooring. Went a little bit lighter colour this time. Ta-da! Yeah, we don't use pits anymore either, Dion. It's all lifts now. So this is what I'm using for the flooring. Textured, double-sided. Peel that off, stick it down. Cheap. They're like $1.68 each tile, I think it was. And I believe they're 300 by 300s. So that's probably one of the nicest ways to do your floors, I think. It saves. I didn't want to go painting everything, because when you paint stuff, you've got to wait for it to dry. When you got to wait for stuff to dry, you're losing time that you could be doing other stuff. So that's why I did that. I think that's pretty much where I'm at. I mean, I can. My actual garage, the real one, is now a pigsty, because I've just thrown everything everywhere to work on this garage. What I'll do, hopefully this doesn't wreck everything. And yeah, I look like crap. You have to get over that. Flip the camera. Right, so that's where we're at. So I'm going to attach those 3. That's what my roof is going to attach to. I will attach my light to those as well. It's just, so far it's been a big job, and with the bad back, it's been hard to sort of try and get round it all. You see the 2 pieces over the back there? I don't know what I'll do with those because they're too short. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, that wood's pretty cheap. I think it was about $7 a length. So, I mean, check it out. It's a pretty big garage. Let me grab. What's the closest truck? All right. There's the Bronco. Move, chair. The chair doesn't want to move. So there's the Bronco, and that's the rest of the garage space. So fair to say, I've got a bit of space there. Let me just put it at the back. So yeah, you can fit about 30 of those Broncos in there. So this so far is my scale garage. If you haven't got one, Dion, you have to build one. Tony, you need a scale garage. Right, let me just flippy that back around. Try and put my phone back in here without turning it off. Right. So that's where we're at with the scale garage. That's not a drill unless it's 20-volt brushless. Righto, mate, what are you talking about? If you can't drill stuff with an 18-volt drill, give up using drills. Top tip. realistically, if you can't do it with a 12-volt drill, there's something wrong with you. This thing, I will say, for $65 is actually quite impressive. I figured I'll just get a cheap drill. I'm only going into wood, and then I'd remember that the legs are stainless, and it's like, oh, Jesus. That drill has been absolutely brilliant already. So, Tony, that's not a garage, that's a warehouse. It's pretty big. It's a pretty big garage. And the only issue now is, because of how big the warehouse is, I'll turn the camera in so you can check out some trucks while we're chit-chatting. The only issue is, because it's so big, you get stuck thinking, well, crap, what am I going to put here? What am I going to put there? Now, I did have... I bought these a long time ago. Tony, 65 Australian dollars is a deal. Cheap, mate. If you don't have to spend a fortune... No, I got the drill from Super Cheap, Robert. I looked at Bunnings, and this is... I'll get around to what I was sort of long-winding here. If you don't have to spend a fortune, don't. There's no need. People are going to say to you, you get what you pay for. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, no. When you go and buy a drill, now there's going to be a lot of you blokes out there, and Australians are probably the worst people in the world for this. There'll be a lot of blokes out there that go, if you don't buy Makita, it's shit. That's not the case, in my opinion. This is a Rockwell drill. I've seen plenty of people use them before. Look, this is my first one, and so far it's brilliant. Lots of power. Quite surprising, actually. You don't have to spend a fortune all the time, especially if you're doing something like Scale Garage. You don't need full-blown, go out and spend $500 on the tools before you start your job. So I went to Bunnings while I was looking at all the wood and stuff yesterday, and I told you long-winded. And I said to the fella, dude, what price, what cheap drills have you got? Well, we've got a drill over here, a Roy Obi. This is his cheapest drill. $129, no battery or charger. So, mate, did someone pinch them? Why don't they come with a battery and charger? $65 with a battery and charger. 18-volt lithium-ion. I'm not going to go and buy a drill if it doesn't come with a battery and charger. Really? So I said, out of curiosity, had no intentions of buying it. Out of curiosity, how much is a battery and charger? Only $89, mate. So only $89 plus the $129 for the drill. Cheap. $65. So my drill set cost me $35. So between the drill and the drill set was $100 or whatever it was. Why would you spend $229? Anyway. So that's why I bought that drill, because it was cheap, and so far it's been brilliant. So don't always assume you have to spend a fortune. That was long. I told you it was going to be long-winded, and I apologise for that. Anyway, so ages ago, I knew I was going to build a bigger scale garage, so I started preparing for it. Check that out. Is that a nice window or what? Now, this is dollhouse stuff. I don't care what anyone says. Laugh away. Go on. Ha, 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 ha. This is dollhouse stuff. And it's old as shit. There's a shop down the road called Model Mania. And those guys have been in that shop for probably 40 years. Like, they're not young kids. They're pretty old. Anyway, lovely people. So anywho, I went in there and I was looking for whatever I was looking for. Nothing to do with scale garages. And I was seeing this. And I was like, $12.90. Now it says 12 scale. Cheetah window. Bet your ass cheetah window. Ha! $12.90, Dion. Tell me, would you try and build one or would you just buy it? You just think you have to glue every single one of those in? $12.90, I'll buy it every day of the week. I don't care what anyone says. Gets better. Here's the main window. That's not a door, Tony. That was a window. I've got a door. Wait for the door. So here's another window. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite suit the first one, but still. Last, I'd get it too. Thought so. So this one was $19.50. Now, it is a bigger window. Now, obviously, you can modify this stuff as you please. So if you don't want the big crown on the top, you can cut that off. But anyway, so there's that. I'm not entirely sure if we use that yet. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I probably will. I know what I'm like. I'll go, oh, I do like that window. And now what I was thinking of doing is, where I'm going to put the window, I will cut out a hole in the wall. Then I will print out an Australian outback scene on a piece. I'll print that out and I'll stick that to a piece of stuff. You know? Stuff. High impact polystyrene. That was hard. I will then curve that piece of styrene before I glue it to the garage. That way, when you move your camera around, it's not just a flat picture for the window. There will be depth to it, and as you move around, well, everything sort of moves different. Depth. Just stick with depth. It'll look a lot more realistic. And I also thought too, I could get myself a couple of incandescent globes for the windows where I've got the curves, and I can essentially have a day-night cycle. So I know this is over the top. Where the windows are and the curvy stuff is, incandescent globe just above it, flick a hidden switch onto the desk, and then it'll look like daylight outside, flick it off, nighttime outside. Because I'm thinking. Okay, the last of the dealies I got, I'm going to open it. This has been sitting here for months and months and months. Dion says it's fancy. This is fancy. Probably a little bit fancy. I might cut the top of it off. Anyway, how does this look? It's a door. $5. $5 for a nice door handle. I may cut this piece off. And I have to stick, I didn't realise that, cheapos. There's no glass in the door. Two options. I can either buy some clear, geez, that's in there. I don't want to break my door. Dion, get out of my hair. Hey, people heard it here first, mate. They see you do it, now they're going to go, that was Jono's idea. Anyway. I love this stuff. Sorry about the noise. Right. So, here's my door. $5, Dion. I bought this months and months ago. This doesn't count for anything. So there's two options here. Because there's no glass. I can either, that's nice, but it's a residential door. This isn't a industrial workshop. This is out the back of someone's house, which you can only assume is rather large. Tony, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Anyway, so this is the door, which I'm, like I say, I'll probably cut this top piece off. Will it open? Well, that's another option too. To do that, obviously, I've got to go and cut the hole out, which means more thinking about, okay, where am I going to put it? I did have a thought of roller door that opened and all this sort. This is down the track stuff. Roll door that opened, an extension off the end of the garage where a truck can sit on it so that I can open the door, drive the truck into my garage. It's just, but now how I've built the garage, if I do that, I have to have a ramp that goes from the outside down into the inside, and it's just, that's probably just not worth the hassle. Anyway, so there's the option of I can put a clear piece of plastic in here to make it a window, or I can put some wood on the inside of it, leave it wood colour, stain it, paint it 2 different colours. Options are endless. Main thing is, got my door. Okay. I think that's where we're at. Bloody hell. It's busy weekend. Robert, but it will look good. I hope so. I do. I'll try and plan this stuff out as, that's not a garage, that's the personal access door, Lars. Okay? Any good garage. Tony, Aru, I have got 2 kangaroos, I believe, and a koala. I'm well ahead of you. if I do the whole window thing, hell, I could put a kangaroo outside the window looking in. I might have to do that now. That's a really good idea. Anyway, so there's plenty of options. As you can see, you don't have to spend a fortune, and you're still not done. Not even close. If you want to do this stuff cheap, you can. I know I've spent a half decent amount of money on this garage, and it's only because it's so big. The previous garage I had, I got the desk for free, I believe. I think I spent $129. That was for the floor, the walls, the light, and balsa wood to build the loft and such. You can do it on the cheap. Those sticky tile floors, Lawrence, send you a kiwi. I'll put a kiwi in my skull garage somewhere. I'll hide it and see if people notice it. But it can only be small because they're not huge. You know this. Of course you know this. Jacob, don't spend a fortune. You just got to think smart. Johnny, buy a cheap clock, mount the clock outside a window offset, glue the koala or the roo to the... Oh, Jesus Christ. Last, why don't I just put a servo over there with a kangaroo attached to the servo with a little flick switch here? So, stop. Okay, you're going to give me ideas. I'm going to go, write it down quick before I forget. So my goal today, Jacob, spend all the monies. But then how are you going to buy trucks then? So my goal today, attach the roof runners, attach the roof panels, the walls, possibly the floor, and then I've got to rest my back because my back's shagged. And then I'm thinking live feed tomorrow. Where we actually start building some parts for the garage, whether it be start the loft, some benches, some shelves and things like that. Maybe tonight I'll sit down with a pen and paper and sort of start to plan out what I'm going to do with the ridiculous amount of space I've got. I wouldn't mind getting an electric lift at some stage. I think with a garage this big, it almost has to have an electric lift. Electric lift, I've got my tyre racks. If I do a loft, I'll probably do an entertainment area underneath it because man cave. So yeah, if you've got any ideas, will you be building or talking? Both. Tomorrow I'm thinking build at the same time as talk. So I can show you guys how I build stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are a lot better than I am at building this stuff, and there's no doubt. But I'll show you how I do it. I'll show you how easy it can be done. And with a bit of painty trickery and such, it can look like you didn't build it and it's a real thing. Maybe. So yeah, that's my plan. Is that okay, Dion? Right. Kangaroo, that's my idea. Yes, last live feed tomorrow. Tell all your friends. As per usual, this was a bit of a shit show, but if you think someone might like to watch it and they can sort of start to pick up what we're doing here with the garage and etc. and so on, look, give it a share. It's much appreciated. We're starting to get some awesome views on these things. The more views we get on live feeds, the more companies I can attract into doing more things with. I want to start doing. Ideally, I'd like to do truck giveaways, which would be epic. Whether I unbox a truck, review it, whatever else, then give it to one of you guys or whatever else, have competitions for them. I'd like to do that sort of thing. To do those sorts of things, we need views. Lots of them. Because when you're a little guy, no one cares. This is how it goes. Been told this by a couple of certain companies. Yeah. When you're a little guy, no one cares. Thanks, mate. Doesn't matter who you are, what you do. Anywho, you need a snap-on calendar. I'm going to be printing some stuff. I'll be making scale magazines, some scale boxes again, McDonald's containers and all this. Paper art. Paper art is a thing. Google it. There is a lot of paper art stuff. I don't even know where it is. I'm not going to look. 8x8 SCX 10 style box I'd done. That was a... Shut up, Jacob. That was an axial box that I converted to have my truck on it. You can get anything in paper art, and it's scale accessories that you can make at home. It costs you next to nothing. Unless, of course, you've got no ink in your printer and you have to go and buy. These days, cheaper to buy a new printer than it is to buy ink cartridges. Crazy world we live in. So live feed tomorrow. I will have this ready to start building stuff. I hope. There's a lot going on up here. Robert, Coke or Pepsi machine you can find on Google. I've got a slot machine here, so I've got a bag of scale accessories over there. I've ordered more scale accessories in my RC Mart order that hopefully, I don't know, mid next week it'll be here. Ordered a crap ton of scale accessories because it's a pretty big garage and I'm going to need more. I'll have to do more scale accessories. Man letting that beard grow. No, it's coming off tonight. It's giving me the shit. So's my hair. It's just, I've been too busy, man, and I forget about it, and then my face itches and it annoys me, and it's like, man, I really have to have a shave. And then I remember how bad my razors are, so while I was out and about today, went and bought new hair clippers, went and bought new razors, because that's coming off. So tomorrow, I'll probably have a white beard from where I've been out in the sun, and this hasn't anyway. Robert, and arcade games. Wonder if you can get scale like the old Daytona machines. That'd be cool. Christmas is going to be Santa. I'll be doing a live feed around Christmas, if not Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whatever. We're going to have a pretty quiet Christmas. So who knows? We might do some Christmassy stuff. Live waxing. Get out of town, Tony. Jacob Chess has joined us just as we're about to shut up shop. Always happens. Every live feed. Someone joins and we're about to turn her off. I suggest you go back and watch from the start and you'll be caught up with what we're doing. Right, so I've showed you what I'm using. I've showed everything, I think. Yeah. Okay, well, look, give it a share. We'll see if we can get some more interest in this and keep those awesome views coming up. The last live feed had 33 shares from you guys, and that's beeping epic. To tell me that I won the cardboard comp. Oh, look, people, start posting pictures of your Scale Garage stuff that you build in the cardboard, because I got Tamara to start building a Scale Garage the other night. I said, look, I want you to show these guys how easy it is to do. So she did. 20 minutes she spent on it. She built a loft. She built a Christmas tree, started on top of it. She built a table. And then somehow she managed to throw it in the skip bin the other day. Had a skip bin here, so I cleaned the garage before this came in. I said, where's your Scale Garage? I need to take a photo of it so I can post it on the page. And she went, look, hour max is all you need. You can build a garage. It doesn't have to be some awesome artistic thing. I don't care if it's a Christmas tree that's cut out like this and you've got a triangle at the back of it to hold it up. Just have fun with it. So let's start seeing some secret spy shots. Not as bad as the ones I used to take. Jacob, I spent an hour to make a dyno. But that's good, man. Because then when it comes to, if you want to build something like this, you'll go, well, you know what? I wouldn't mind to do a dyno. So now that I've done it with cardboard, you got all the shapes. When you build stuff, it's all shapes. Think about that. You know all the different shapes and how it's got to go together. Then it's just what material you use. That's it. Right, so I'm going to bugger off. I'm going to have a coffee, and then I'm going to rip into this. And hopefully within the next hour or two, there'll be some update pictures on the page, and the floor will be down, the walls will be attached, and I'll set a truck here. Just because. Fingers crossed. Give it a share, give it some likes and loves and such, and we'll see you on the live feed tomorrow, and we'll chit-chat on the page through whenever. Thank you very much for stopping by. Take care. Jacob, I know shapes, I'm screwed. Dion, I'm sick of shapes. Oh, jeez. Anywho, thanks for stopping by. Take care, and we'll talk to you on tomorrow's live feed. Bye.